I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is...
Raised Fist.
Raised Fist.
Friends and Traitors.
Patrol. For tiny topical pull. Go ahead, go.
This is for the big homie Andreas.
Shout out to Andreas. For tiny topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. There might be some updates about current events, who knows? And some viewers may be surprised, considering things. So that's one. The other thing is, if you, dear listener, would like your song reviewed, there are multiple ways to accomplish this feat.
Yes.
One would be the community option, $1 the gate gets you in their Patreon. You sign up there, and then you get sucked into an alliance. I think the song we did, the last couple days been alliance picks.
Yeah.
And then there you go. There's Dungeons and Dragons, a whole bunch of other fun stuff.
There's other stuff in there. You just send me a message when you get in there. It's not a robot. It's me. I will message you back.
For sure. Now, if you're a filthy capitalist like Sori and you want to go Ronin style, you can hop, skip, and jump in front of everybody. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line, which is what the big homie did here. You do that 3 times, you get knocked out of the $75 rate. Having said that, Raised Fist Friends.
Guys, don't forget, we're selling shoes now, so check out the link in the description.
Oh, that's right. Some of you Middle Americans, DL Beluga is, the capitalist that he is now an official businessman. So we've got his link in the description if you need shoes or whatnot. DL is on the way. All right, let's do it.
Here we go. Oops. I just realized.
Course.
No, it's only my headphones plugged in.
Of course.
Do you two want to hear the song?
I do too want to hear this song.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Here you go. Don't miss this video.
Full. It's like a UFC guy or something.
Hopefully this doesn't get blocked.
Or he's about to get interrogated.
Oh, I like that.
Noticing all these changes, what the fucking ranges, run out all these pages. Usually filled with weight, when I jump into the stages. But the mama see a bullshit for ages. This time I'm breaking it, I'll find him. You're scared, see you in the state of way of thinking it. From her silent way.
What in his eyes for the haters?
Closing his eyes.
I thought he's a ghost in my eyes.
I see them, but I try to close my eyes for the haters or from the haters.
Okay.
This band. What year was it? What year did these fellas come out?
Surprised by his voice. I didn't expect that.
Okay, so this record came out in 2009. This is really, really interesting, right? Because he was rapping. It was like rap metal, and rap metal was kind of, especially through the new metal period, it was like there was a subgenre of new metal. But the way that his vocals were, I mean, they were very good rhyme schemes, and obviously I've got hip hop, rap, East Coast rap. That's how I came up. So he's got that like very, tight rhyme schemes and things like that. And it just didn't sound like a rap metal record, even though it was, but it just didn't sound like it because of the way he was just doing his voice. It was so unique.
Yeah. I told you I was surprised by it. I was like, wait, what?
I think these guys are probably more considered a hardcore band than a new metal band. But it's just
say on the side here something.
It just says pop sometimes or whatever. But like even like it was just so unique. So I think even if he would have taken it, because by 2009 the new metal scene was dead anyway. But I think if he would have taken that into the new metal era, he would have still separated. The band would have separated themselves because just vocally what he was doing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I really loved it. Like from the beginning, the guitars hit, boom. It was like we're on go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. The I don't know where they were. It looked like some sort of fire was burning down in this basement.
Yeah.
And like the jumping, using that as the background to create silhouettes of your body, I thought that was pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it was bad. He did a little tornado kick at the end.
Yeah. I heard you react. I was like...
This in Taekwondo, like, that was a big thing in Taekwondo. They're like, oh my gosh, Vin can do a tornado kick. Oh no. And people were like, use it in the tournament. Which is ridiculous because...
it's so... You know exactly what's going on. It takes so long.
It leaves you so open.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like UFC, it was points. Mm-hmm. So if you hit somebody, you get a point.
Yeah.
So if you leave yourself open, you're gonna lose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Can't do that.
I did it. There was this one kid it was to 5. It was 5 points. Mm-hmm. And I had him 4-0. So I did it. I did a little tornado kick.
Oh, that's when you used it.
Yeah, I completely missed it. He hit me. So that. Ow! Oh no!
Shoot! Oh, there was something I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Well, I'm not doing any tornado kicks. Reza, our last baby that we just had, is 8 weeks old, and I had to clean a ton of black mold off of the walls in our bathroom. And when I was up there, I had such a hard time getting under the washing machine. Mm-hmm. I felt so freaking old. I'm like, oh no, I need more vitamins. So I wouldn't be doing any of these.
Any of these moves? I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, not right now. I think my vitamin D must be low because I'm telling you, all my joints are like, please, I'm
could be that, or you could be lazy.
No, it's not that, because this is exactly what happened on my last pregnancy. After I was like, why are all my joints hurting? And then it turns out vitamin D. But we live in Maine. It's like dark all the time. There's no sun.
Right.
That's when I need my vitamin D. Okay, anyway. So lyrically, yeah, he was rapping all over the place. I'm like, we've been working on a song which is available on Patreon the first 15 seconds. And like voice control, like breath control, when I'm watching him, I'm like, what? Because he was just go, 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 go.
Yeah, he even did some accenting. So at the beginning when he says, notice all these changes, widening our ranges, writing down all these pages, usually filled with rage wind.
Oh yeah, and he had
See, I jump onto the stages.
Yeah.
So like, that's like next level rhyming, right? Like where you're using accenting to carry the rhyme. He did really, really, really good with that. It looks like the song is pretty straightforward and true to the title. We're talking about like fake friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And how that relates to his band and the music industry, I think is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Competition telling us to follow those guidelines and to stay right-handed. That was my favorite little section. Telling us to follow those guidelines and stay right-handed, but music comes from the heart. lyrics come from my head to my hand, and I'm left-handed. I love that. And that's kind of, isn't that what happened? Like, you were originally a lefty,
Yeah.
and then your mom made you write right.
She kept moving it to the right.
She made you write right.
Yeah. She did it because she said she didn't want my hand to be an ink all my life.
Right, because all the...
If you're a lefty...
What? There's an ink... Are you dipping into an ink well? What do you mean?
No, because when you're right-handed, your hand is over here, so you're writing and your hand is not in your ink. But if it's over here, you're writing and your hand is always... My friend who was lefty, her hand always had smudged ink on it. Right? She would do a bunch of writing. So... But I actually...
So all
she
the
regrets it now.
right-handed fascists... Go ahead.
Yeah, she regrets it now. She wishes she would have left it alone. So do I. I like the uniqueness of a left hand.
Zoe's lefty and Orion's lefty.
Orion's lefty or he's ambi because he'll go. I see him go back and forth, and so
This
it
one-
might be
this-
maybe it's
this
that
one-
he's too
This one thinks Orion's everything.
brilliant, baby.
He's the Pope. He's... She's like, did you see...
No, he's not the. He's bad.
Did
He's a
you
bad little
see?
boy.
Did you see what Orion pulled off today? I'm like, no, babe, what happened? She's like, he poped.
No, I'm not
Look
like
at
that.
This is amazing.
I am not like-
best kid in the
no.
world. So I guess they're from Hertz Island.
Listen, you have a rainbow baby.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's both. I think it's that he's a rainbow baby, but I think it's also that he's your son. So I'm like,
He's. That's very sweet of you. I've been demolishing your bullshit for ages. This time I'm breaking it. Our friendship, your smile. See you in the city while you're faking it. Yikes. There it is. This is. They wrote a song. Apparently, there's some friends back home.
yeah.
That. Well, you know, that's the whole people being jealous of a person's success thing. You know what I mean? Instead of using a person who is outdoing you in what you want to happen, right? Instead of hating on them,
Yeah.
why don't you get close to them and ask them how the hell they did it? Like, why don't you do that? But people are so... and it's a hard thing for me because, you know, politically speaking, I'm all over the map. So I'm a giant believer in Medicare for all and all those kinds of things. But at the same time, there's that sort of disdain for quote-unquote rich people.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's like, oh, these people are terrible, blah, 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 blah. So you're like, what does that have to do with the song? It's basically the jealousy that happens when people start making money, right? And start getting famous. And then you feel justified in hating this guy for whatever reason. And to me, it's like that. Like, you're in a bad situation. This guy's a millionaire. Obviously, he's the bad guy, not you. You know, he's the one that's the problem. She's the one that it's not you, you know. And so people like that, you just gotta... I think you called the right play on that one.
Well, the other thing too is if you allow yourself to be jealous, it cramps what you can do, because I think that you only have X amount of energy, you only have X amount of brain power. You know, like, are you gonna take everything and put it all into whatever you're trying to accomplish, or are you gonna split it by being jealous of this person, being angry at that person, being bitter over there, being whatever? Like, you gotta just say, you know what, those people, like, if there are people that are trying to hold you back or people that are jealous of you, whatever, you just gotta let it go. And just go forward to what you're trying to do, because... But I think that what's hard is when you can't tell the difference.
Between what?
Between, like, friends and haters. But I think that there's a hater... There can be haters in your friends list, and sometimes you don't know it until certain situations happen.
Right.
And that can be really painful, because you could... I feel like you're not so much... like deceived by that. Like, I think that you have, but I do think that it's helpful having the worldview that you have. I have the same worldview, I just don't walk in mine as much as you do. Like, just understanding that people are sinful, people are flawed, people are going to hurt you, you're going to hurt other people. Like, that's just it. Nobody's perfect. So, you know, you understand you're not perfect, so they're not going to be either. But I think that, you know, if you can have that mindset, then you're not going to expect so much out of the people around you. You're going to expect, you know, they're going to do something. But I think when you're really hoping that your friends... I think you still want, you know, some people that are ride or die. And when you can't tell the difference between it can be tough.
Well, that's why, the closest relationships to me are relationships based on, the partnership aspect. I'm very, very big on the partnership aspect. So if a friend betrays you, see, there's a lot of things happening at the same time. So there's a story about David and Saul, and Saul's chasing this dude all over the place, trying to kill him, and then David creeps up on him in a cave. And he says, I could have killed you, blah, blah, blah.
It's actually pretty weird what he does.
Well,
So Saul's using the bathroom and he cuts the back of his garment off.
Yeah.
So
to proof, I
could have killed you. Of course, I think he could have done the same thing by cutting the edge, but.
Yeah, so David confronts him and Saul says, as the Lord lives, I was wrong and you were right, ask Yahweh to forgive me. And then he's like, come back to the palace, man, we're good. I'm my bad, bro. I shouldn't have been trying to kill you for the last 10 months, bro. Come on down. And David's like, nah, bro, thank you for the apology. I'm gonna go over here. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. When those friendships, and usually when a betrayal happens, that's a fairly good sign that the friendship is over. That's the thing you have to understand. These things have a shelf life, right? Most friendships have a shelf life, and to the degree that the betrayal happened, or whatever other adjective you want to use or verb, there's a way to say, okay, we're done with that relationship without being seethingly angry. And that's my concern. Is I don't want to run around and be angry at people. And a lot of it is sitting back and being they need that. The talking and the bullshit and people commiserating them and having groups of people who are stuck. It's I was able to look past it and go, yeah, but he needs that because he put himself in a bad situation. So now he's doing all this yada yada yada. I think it's a toxic way to get support, but it's better than nothing. So to me, I'm well, he needs it. So
yeah.
It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect what we're trying to do, but. And then you think to yourself, well, whatever the fallout was or whatever, ask yourself, what's going on with the person? If I was in their shoes, would I be able to? But the problem is that when you're such a hard worker, and to make it in the music industry, obviously, you've got to be completely dedicated to the craft and have a little luck. Right? So it's very hard. These guys are grinding. They're getting booed off stages or sleeping in their vans just to play for 20 minutes at a show.
Sometimes they hardly get showers, they said, because
we've talked to
places are not set up.
Yeah, we've talked to people in massive bands.
I was going to say, some of these people are big time. It's
legendary bands, and they can't go. They gotta go to the bathroom at 7-Eleven, all this craziness. So to me, it's it's very hard for a person who's been through all that, who happens to get the break, to be understanding to the guy and the girl who's doing all this nonsense. It's very, very hard because they're I know what it cost me to get here. I know what it cost me to be able to do this. I know the time that the marriage I lost, or the kids, or the whatever. I put in all my work in this, and you're gonna say.
Yeah.
I don't care what you have to say. I don't care how you feel or what brought you to that. You know what I'm saying? So, but to me, it's something I'm slowly trying to grow into. Okay, why is this guy angry? There's only one of two choices. You did something to him, or you didn't. Okay, well, if you didn't do anything to him, why pray tell would he be angry at you? Well, he's stayed in the same place his entire life. He's, you make 5 times more than him. You have some modicum of whatever. He doesn't. So that's why he did it. It festered all that rage and that anger. And so he threw it up all over you because, people are worshiping you. Whatever it is, right? And so, being able to understand why people are doing crazy things, or why a friend betrayed you and things like that, I think it's important. It's important. A lot of people think I'm saying, understand the perpetrator and almost victim blaming, because a lot of times people shift the responsibility to the person betrayed. But what I'm saying is, the more and more you understand why a person did something, the less and less you take it to an offense.
Oh, absolutely.
Because 9.5 times out of 10, it's not that they were actively trying to. It's just human. So, for example, another story with King David. He finally ascends to the throne, And then Saul, the guy who was running around trying to kill him, he ends up dead. David didn't kill him, but he ends up dead. So David ascends to the throne. Well, you know what happens if you get to the throne. If you basically were not in the family line, because David was not in Saul's family line, what you're supposed to do is kill every male in that family line, so that there won't be any more heirs to threaten your throne or the throne of your kids. David says, is there anybody from the house of Saul, the bad guy, that I can show mercy to? So they got this little paralyzed dude named Mephibosheth.
He was dropped when he was trying to escape, I think, right?
Right. So Saul gets into this horrible fight. He's losing or whatever. And in the rush to get out of there, he got dropped, and it basically crushed the bones in his leg, and so he couldn't walk. So he had to be carried everywhere that he was. And it says, so they picked him to be, David picked him, and he said, come up to the palace. And basically the guy lived at the palace, and the end of the chapter says, like one of the king's sons. Well, David's son Absalom goes after him, chases him out of town. Absalom, David's son, wants the crown for himself, so he chases him out of town, sits on his throne, and goes, I'm the man. So all the David loyalists ran into the woods with David.
Yep.
Except for Mephibosheth. So a battle ensues, Absalom dies, and so they go back. So then David shows up. Everybody, like when he comes back, of course you know what happens. All the people that before were saying, yeah, get out of here. Now they're like, yay, David's back. Long live the king, blah, blah, blah. And then he runs into Mephibosheth and he says, it's one of the craziest, it's such a one of my favorite passages in the Bible. It's such a meaningful passage where he goes to Mephibosheth and he says, why didn't you come with me, Mephibosheth? Why didn't you come with me? Like, that's crazy to me, because it's like, that's such a crazy moment. Like, this powerful king, and then he's like, why weren't you there for me? And you had like a quarter of the city go out there with you. What do you care about Mephibosheth? And he's like, yo, you ate at my table, bro. Like, what's your problem? So that is just that line when David says that is like so crazy. And then Mephibosheth responds, so he says, why didn't you go with me, Mephibosheth? And he says, oh my lord, O king, my servant deceived me, for the servant said, I will saddle me the donkey and ride thereon and go with the king, for thy servant is lame. And he slandered thy servant to my lord the king. But my lord the king is as an angel of God. Do therefore what is good in your sight. So basically what he said was, look, because David had set him up with an estate. He said, look, my servant, the guy that's supposed to take care of me, jumped in the car and said, David's out, he's done. He's done, and he took off with the car. He's like, well, I'm lame in both feet. I can't, what could I do? I was completely dependent on this guy, and he lied to me.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. That's why he wanted to get out of Dodge, because he didn't want to be caught helping. Yeah.
So he says, all my father's house were but dead men before my lord the king, and you set your servant among them to eat at your table. So he's like, you brought me to eat at your table. How could I betray you? What further right, therefore, have I? And for what should I cry about anymore to the king? So he's like, look, you're coming after me. I get it. I wasn't there. You've been way more charitable to me than what I deserve. And then the king says, why are you speaking anymore about this? Go ahead. You're good. And Mephibosheth said to the king, let him take all, since my lord the king is come again to peace in his own house. So basically the point that I'm making is, David the entire time he's in the woods is like, yo, how come Mephibosheth isn't coming? And it's like, oh my God, he betrayed me in my army, da-da-da-da. But then when he goes to him, he asks him why he did it instead of assuming. And so when Mephibosheth gives the answer, David goes, oh, no, we're good. Like, we're square. And so, like, I think a lot of times, like, people,
jump to accusing instead of asking why. But it's funny because we want that given to us.
Right.
Like, if we're late or we're, act some sort of way or whatever, like, we want people to take into account why we did that.
Right.
But sometimes we don't want to give that charity to other people.
Right. So I think that's a really important skill set to get. It's like, just ask the person. And it's something I say all the time, right? Like, just communicate. You gotta communicate. So if you're feeling all salty like that, and sometimes they're really a traitor.
Right.
Right? In which case,
They'll lie to your face.
yeah, in which case you just tell them to go on their way, or you go on your way. But you at least have to make the attempt to try to understand them. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What did you think of like the music, the riffage?
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was.
I liked his voice though was really unique, but it's something that would have to grow on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I wasn't like, I definitively like it, but I didn't not like it. I was kind of like...
A little bit in between,
yeah. But I think, it's one of those things that have to grow a little bit more on me.
Yeah. Yeah. Good song. Who made this request?
Andres!
Shout out to Andres. Really, really, really good song, guys. Really good song. I give it a 9.2.
Shout out to all the friends. Shout out to all the traitors. Because we know we got you in here too. What did you give it, a 9.2? We know you're spying. Okay, what did you give it? You get a 9.2?
That's some shit I usually do.
I know, but I'm in a particularly silly mood.
I know, yeah. I've been noticing that you're in a particularly silly mood.
I really feel so much better after our conversation last night.
Yeah,
Extremely helpful.
I said I wouldn't diss.
I feel lighter.
I said I wouldn't diss the dead, and I didn't. But nigga, fuck T-Roy, no D.
There, I did it.
Hopefully no BDs are watching this. 9.2, what'd you get?
9.1.
There you are, dear listener. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.